The UN Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change has issued the second of four planned investigative reports that are examining the state of the world's changing climate. The report has been described as super cautious to a fault, yet still incredibly alarming. The report warns of the terrible job we are doing of dealing with recent effects of climate change, including heat waves, droughts, floods, cyclones, and wildfires. The report also warns of future causes for concerns that will arise as a result of climate change, such as the breakdown of our food systems from drought, flooding, and other extreme conditions. The study says that climate change is expected to, quote, prolong existing and create new poverty traps, particularly in urban areas, and will, quote, increase risks of violent conflicts in the form of civil war and intergroup violence. The overall conservative report discusses the conclusions regarding the risks of creating more failed states, the price of inaction both environmentally and economically of climate change as well. However, most people watching mainstream American news on television will not know the substance of this new UN study. While MSNBC viewers were treated to a very detailed 20 minutes of coverage over five segments about the new UN study, CNN felt that the climate change study deserved only a grand total of 1 minute and 8 seconds. Of course, that lack of reporting by CNN pales in comparison to the brilliant minds glowing out of Fox Noise. Viewers of Fox got to hear 5 whole minutes of Fox panelists railing against and attacking the very notion of the study, its existence, and of course, climate change as a whole. On Fox, they discussed whether, quote, it's all right for you to exhale without paying tax to United Nations, as Claudia Rosette of the Neoconservative Foundation for Defense of Democracies eloquently stated on Fox. Fox also mocked the UN for spending any energy on climate issues while there are issues like Russia and North Korea to deal with. There was also no discussion on Fox about the contents of the study, and no one showed any indication that they were even familiar with the particulars of the study. They did accuse the UN, however, of somehow profiting from getting information out there to the public about climate change. Later on another segment on Fox News, Bill O'Reilly accused activists of seeking to, quote, destroy the economy or allow villains like Putin to blackmail us with his fossil fuels, based on a phantom global warming theory when no one knows whether it's true. At least on CNN, Jack Taper did say that, quote, all of human civilization could be at risk, and that it's already too late to reverse some of the effects of global warming related to coral reefs and the Arctic sea ices. But the prize for truth, of course, this time goes to MSNBC. Thank you very much. Now, what do you guys think?
Kind of whether fossil fuels cause climate change. We don't know that. It's just a lie. I mean, possibly the easiest job in the world is to be the researcher at Fox News, because he probably just has to sit there and somebody will go, can you research that? And I go, no, it's probably true, whatever you think. I mean, does no one do any research at Fox News? It's incredible to me that they can actively lie. They're lying, and they're saying, oh, it's going to cost our economy and stuff. Well, if you don't sort out this kind of global warming problem that is happening, 100% is happening, and is 99.999 whatever percent of scientists agree that it's man, or at least kind of humankind has some impact on the climate. I think in 2012, of about 500 climate change papers that were released, I think only 3 questioned whether it could have been man-made or not. Still agreeing that global warming was happening, but if they're saying, oh, it might cost the economy if we're kind of going to ignore fossil fuels and kind of tax fossil fuels and tax our breathing, as that moronic pundit said, well, there's not going to be an economy if the rest of mankind is wiped out by climate change. It's atrocious what Fox News has done. It's disappointing, disheartening, and just a little bit sad with what CNN has done. And at least MSNBC is doing something towards it. I mean, I know in the previous years they haven't covered it at all, or at least they've given this some airtime. Not nearly as enough as it deserves, but they have given it some at least.
All right, so I got a couple of points, but first, before I make my points, I want to give sort of a shout out. See, we talked about this last week when we had Dan Spearin from Truth Mashup on the show. Big shout out to Dan Spearin, of course. Check him out on YouTube, youtube.com/cynically tested. He does Truth Mashup over on the TYT Network, and we talked about this, and we talked about the IPCC report as well as sort of the climate change message and how it comes across, right? You really can't make this message of doom and gloom, we're all kind of fucked, really all that sexy. So as far as CNN goes and Fox goes and most of the corporate mainstream media, they don't really pay attention to it. Now, to get to the point about Fox, I don't think really anybody is surprised about Fox News saying what they're saying that it's a waste of time. I happen to think that Fox News is also a waste of space. But nonetheless, Fox is backed by corporations that save money by polluting, and so they deny climate change. That's just what they do. But I think the real outrage in this story is not about Fox, because Fox does what Fox does. It's doing what it's always done. The real outrage is CNN. Instead of covering the most important long-term issue facing humanity as a whole for longer than a minute, we get wall-to-wall coverage of Malaysia MH730, the goddamn plane, speculation of black holes. And I think the only way that CNN would actually have covered this report from the IPCC longer than a minute is if it had caused the plane to crash. Like, literally. So, look, my overall point is for Fox News, this is sort of par for the course. You expect them to attack climate change, whereas the average American cable TV news consumer, which, by the way, is vastly shrinking, a vastly shrinking number of people, there are less and less people watching cable news, they expect the cable news network, CNN, to actually do news. What a concept. And unless you're really informed about the state of our media here in America, or are a part of new media, such as our show, you're not going to be aware of these problems facing corporate media.
Those are all solid points, and yes, CNN is the worst with that plane, but how do we know global warming didn't cause that plane to crash or disappear? All right.
See, if somebody would have brought that up, we could have tweeted CNN, hey, we got a lead on MH730 on the crash, on what caused it, climate change.
And they do tend to report things that are unconfirmed from Twitter.
From Twitter, yes.
But which is amazing. But yeah, the thing is I am a casual viewer of Fox News for entertainment, mostly on YouTube when they're clipped out for me, and I like the dumb attacks are funny on this report that you're gonna have to pay to exhale and all that, which like those are obviously dumb attacks. But there are smart criticisms of this report. Like, this report says that it's going to increase extreme poverty if we don't do anything about it, right? A smart counterattack is saying that people who suffer under extreme poverty don't have fossil fuels. Like, you can counter certain things if you want to be intelligent, and Fox doesn't even raise it up to that level.
That makes absolutely no sense.
No, I'm talking about the effects. They're saying that extreme poverty will go up if you do nothing, but in the short term, having fossil fuels alleviates extreme poverty. Like, cheap energy alleviates poverty. This is obvious.
In the short term, maybe.
Yeah,
in the short term, it does. In the long term, it's going to create more poverty, which is what the IPCC report actually says.
I'm not saying that I'm countering like the entire climate change.
No, I know. It's also easy to counter Fox News's counter because Fox News
but I'm saying
is exactly the home of intelligent discourse.
If they had intelligent people who were going to make intelligent counterpoints, like that would be one of them. Like, short term, you're telling these people that they can't have energy until we develop cleaner green energy. Like, there would be smarter counterpoints. This isn't even my overall point. You guys are getting stuck on this. But they don't even raise up to that level. And CNN is just not a news organization anymore. Like, they are they only report now the TMZ version of political and international news. It has to be a sexy story for it to be interesting, or a story about a plane that I stopped caring about after a week.
And like we said last week, when Dan was on, we can't. How do you make climate change a sexy topic? You really can't. So these media outlets that are the TMZ of the news world, the news and politics world, they're not going to pick it up.
you can make it sexy, and I'm not a scientist, and I wouldn't be able to make it sound sexy here and now. But if you look at what kind of Neil deGrasse Tyson has done with his Cosmos series and making astrophysics amazingly kind of entertaining and interesting and engaging, climate change is just a different branch of science that can be made just as interesting and sexy. But it's just that no one can be bothered. It's going to take a bit of effort, and there's no real. With astrophysics and stuff, you've got Neil deGrasse Tyson, you've got Michio Kaku, who are the face of that, and they will go on TV and talk about it and promote issues surrounding that area of science. Whereas with climate change, at the moment, there's no one who's doing the rounds on the media to talk about it and get it more into the public sphere. I think that's one of the main problems with it at the moment, that there's no one attempting to make it sexy in the scientific community. And I think it is, I mean, admittedly, the media is completely at fault here, but also the scientific community needs to step up, and somebody needs to put their face onto TV screens across America, well, and the world.
But
you make a really good point about that. That's a really good point, because no one really talked about astrophysics before Neil deGrasse Tyson got really famous. He sort of made astrophysics more mainstream for everyone, and he's done a lot of good for his field and science in general, because he's just such a charismatic figure out there in the public sphere, making it really interesting and really relatable for people. And what have we had for the climate change movement? Frankly, I like him a lot, but Al Gore isn't exactly sexy and exciting.
I agree with that, and I also agree with your earlier point. I'm obviously a fan of Neil deGrasse Tyson. I think he's doing a great job taking over Cosmos and everything. So, I mean,
yeah. I actually suggested this a long time ago in a video that I submitted for TYT Nation, which can be totally checked out there. That somebody should put together one of the most entertaining shows I've ever seen on the Science Channel. Was something called like Planet Green or something in that vein, where they showed 6 innovative people with 6 ideas on how to counteract global warming. You're telling me that you can't make a show where you have Americans compete to make the next best innovation, and that won't get good ratings if you put on a network show? Like, Cosmos is just a slickly produced, like, animated graphic with Neil deGrasse Tyson voicing over it. Like, I don't mean animated, but you know what I mean. It's like B-roll mixed with animation. Like, there are ways to like promote this if you want to, and make it quote unquote sexy if you want to do it. I just don't see that happening on the news.
And I want to address one of the points that Stephen had made. I think why a lot of scientists aren't engaging in the media is because of that false equivalence debate. Is that they'll bring on a scientist, but then they'll bring on a climate denier, call it equal, and that a lot of scientists are like, no, I'm not going to engage in this false debate, because then I'm giving your stupid Neanderthal ideas, I'm lending them credence by appearing on the show next to that idiot over there.
And on top of that, it could just be that they haven't found, like, they don't have a lot of charismatic climatologists. Like, Bill Nye is famous, he's charismatic, but as he even admits on the shows, he's like, I'm not an expert on climate. You should actually bring a climate expert. Like, people get brought on TV because they have names. Like, they don't get brought on TV because they're the most qualified. So maybe we should start looking for a climatologist that's not a complete nerd and has a little charisma. No offense.
I think, like, the one thing that I want to say is that this is basically kind of a call out to any climatologist out there. If you've got a bit of charisma, if you can talk about your subject and you're passionate about it, write a book. It doesn't have to be a particularly big book. Make it 200 pages, anecdotes. Doesn't have to be particularly sciencey. But then just go on a promotion tour of all the different media outlets, and then just any debate that you're invited onto, go onto there and then demolish the morons that you will be put up against, the people who are in favour of kind of the oil companies and climate deniers. And just, if you've got a bit of charisma, you'd be able to easily destroy those people. And so just please, any scientists out there at all, just go on TV more. It's what people need.